the First Step Act, which advocates for criminal justice reform, think is a good start in reforming the criminal justice system. Why should voters believe that you are the right person to build on that legislation, given that in the administration you had with President Obama, you guys weren't able to get a First Step Act?
Well, guess what? We proposed the First Step Act, and what we did was, in our administration, there are 38,000 fewer federal prisoners than there were when we started our administration. We moved to eliminate the disparity between crack cocaine and powdered cocaine. So a black guy getting a nickel bag and snorting coke went mandatory to jail. Someone who did a line in Park Avenue got arrested. They got probation. And so we've tried to change. There have been mistakes made. We've made significant.
What's going on, y'all? This is Marty coming to you once again from a common man perspective. You know, as you just seen the video I put up, and they're talking about criminal justice reform. You know, for one thing, they keep talking about criminal justice reform like Trump did something to help the entire country, in which he didn't. The federal government prison system only makes up a very, very small percentage of prisoners in this country. And with that first act, it only helped release 3,000 people. Now, 3,000 people, just let that sink in for a second. 3,000 people. Do you know how many people are either on probation, parole, or actually incarcerated in this country at this point in time? Over 1 million. Over 1 million. And we're sitting here making a big deal out of 3,000 people. 3,000. Do you realize that the state of Georgia have more prisoners than the federal government does? And one of the reasons why the Georgia population is so huge, because of the injustices in that state when it comes to their criminal justice system. Now, if Trump really wanted to do something, or if any president really wanted to do something, why not force these states to reform their systems? Because Georgia, for a prime example, is if you're poor and if you're black, 90% of the time, you're going to prison. You're going to be on paper of some sort. And that's the problem with the system. You know, people say that Lady Justice is blind. No, she's not blind. Lady Justice peeks and sees who's in front of that judge. Either you're rich or you're poor, or you're black or you're white. Lady Justice see that. You know, and for people to think that she's blind, you're fooling yourself, because she's not. But my whole thing about it is I'm sick and tired of people bragging about criminal justice reform that Trump did, and it only affected 3,000 people who was released due to that act. And there's over 1 million people who's either on probation, parole, or incarcerated. Just look at that, 3,000 people. So, is that really something to brag about? Really, is that really something to brag about? In my eyes, it's not. So please stop using the word criminal justice reform by itself. If you want to say the First Step Act, all right, I'll give you that. But stop saying criminal justice reform, because this country have not put forth any effort to reform the entire system in the United States of America. Bottom line.